Hi. But did you try leeches? Okay, I'm going to explain my absence. But this will be like a PSA. I'm uh, I'm 65. I'm here to tell you if you have discomfort on your right side and your abdomen and your pee looks like coffee and you're tired, go see your doctor. So, I'll tell you my story. And with that, I'm going to tell you a few other things. I'm CW. It's BTH&T. I started this channel, I think like June 14th, and I want it to go a year. And I'm still going to try to do that. I don't see a reason why not to. But let's talk. So, February 2nd, you all know that day, the Pro Bowl game, which I never watch anyway because it's, well, let's face it, not really a football game. I first noticed that I had some discomfort. I couldn't sleep. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but like I had a small jewelry wood case underneath my right side of my ribs. It was hard to get comfortable. It woke me up a couple of times, but this is February 2nd. And I noticed a discoloration in my urination. It was dark. Not bad dark, just dark. The following Monday, I felt somewhat fatigued. I take Jackson for a walk. He's a Jack Russell. He needs a lot of exercise. I try to take him for a walk like 3 times a day. It's not long. We end up doing about a little less than 3 miles a day. But it's enough for him. And it's enough for me. In the first walk, I almost didn't make it back. I was tired. So fatigue set in. I called my doctor and made an appointment. Be grateful if you have a good doctor. My doctor is an internal medicine person, and he's very proactive. He immediately ordered a couple of blood tests, and he was concerned about my pain. So he ordered some x rays and an ultrasound. I was fortunate enough to get those the next week, and the blood test I got that week. So now it is like after the Super Bowl, February 9th, February 10th, Friday. My wife looks at me and says, "You're not a good color. You are jaundice. You're yellow." I contacted my doctor, and there was no, you don't need to wait until the 26th of February because they did set up a follow up for then. They said, "Come in today at 4 o'clock." So I did. He ordered a second blood work. He ordered MRI and MRI CPT, stuff I've never heard of. When I left, or as I was leaving, the receptionist told me, "If you cannot get in this week, you call me back and we'll find someplace for them where you can get the test done sooner." Well, the first time they said they could do the test was March 6th. So I called her back, and she found a place that would do the exam on February 14th, Friday. If I didn't mind going in at 3, and I didn't. So I completed my blood work on Wednesday. He got the results Friday morning. MRD, MRI, CPT, whatever that is, that was with contrast. Almost made me throw up. I said almost. It was my first experience with contrast. And basically, they inject you with a dye or something. And I probably won't experience the issue again. I'll explain why. It's usually just the first time. When I finished that procedure um, at the Radiologist Associates, they gave me the disc and they said, "Your doctor wants to see you." I said, "Well, I have an appointment next week." That your doctor wants you to come to his office right now. So I left. It was only a 25-minute drive. Still feeling discomfort. Still thinking that I have kidney stones because my urine is now just as dark as coffee. You don't have kidney stones. I don't know how they teach this to doctors. But he says this is the worst part of my job. The standard marker for pancreatic cancer is 34. Your markers are over 11,000. It's not a question, do you have it? You do have it. We have to do something. So it's Friday evening, about 4:30 now. Make some phone calls because you're going into the hospital. Well, I'll go tomorrow. You'll go right now. I'm very fortunate my doctor's office is right across the street from the emergency room. He gave me all the pamphlets, the CT, the MRTs. You go in through the emergency room, you check in, you tell him your doctor, your primary, wants you in there, be admitted for pancreatic cancer and to get you on the list and get you going. I thought I was tough. The worst day of my life. I couldn't even call my wife. I barely made it through a conversation with my sister in law and my sister. I was very fortunate. I am very fortunate that I have such a good network set up. Because from there, my sister in law, she took everything on that side of the family, and my sister took care of the other side of the family. My sister broke down, almost caused me to break down. But she rallied. She got with her husband and she took care of business by contacting my daughters in the order I asked her to. And Katie calls me back. That's my youngest daughter. And she says something silly. What WTH? I said, honey, it's nothing I intended to do. Where are you? I'm in the hospital. So Friday, I was very fortunate. I got in. I stayed down in the ER for roughly about 2 hours. And they admitted me to the cancer floor at Advent Health. Let me tell you a little bit about the cancer floor. You have people of all ages, all of them pain. I was in a semi private room. My roommate, who was there longer than me, he was there before I came out, and he was there when I left. He has an issue with his eyes, possibly his brain, and his family is kind of far away. And I hope he does well. I wished him the best. But we kept the TVs off and the lights off because it really irritated him. He was wearing sunglasses, and the light, just the light from the hallway, would bother him. So I didn't get to see President Trump lead the NASCAR Daytona Beach pace out, but that's okay. I got it sent to me from all my kids. So the next morning, Saturday, the 15th, this young doctor comes in and he is full of confidence, but bad news. He says, I've ordered a CT scan. So the thing about a CT scan is different than an MRI. It will layer and give us a better idea of the mass. It's the first time they used it. Mass that we're dealing with. We believe it's on one end of your pancreas. We think that the mass is pressing against the common bile duct of your liver, and this is causing the bilirubin to rise. The plan is to go in and plant um, a bile duct stent to open that up, to get some samples, and to follow up, take some photographs, take some measurements, do an ultrasound from within. And so Saturday wasn't allowed to eat anything. I mean, they were only giving me broth in the morning anyway. And at lunch, they gave me broth again. Then after that, they said, no, you can't eat anymore. So I thought maybe, Sunday morning they would proceed. Hospitals work on their own time. Plus, it's a small hospital and they only have one operating room. And as special as I am, I'm not the only client in town. You know, they have to put up with emergencies, accidents, and they bumped me a little bit. I got in there at 5:05 in the afternoon. I was more irritated that my stomach was bothering me, but I couldn't tell if it was from the pain of not eating or it was anything else. But they were very kind. And they took me into the OR about 5:05. My doctor had already told me what he wanted to do. And basically, it was evasive. It was all down the throat. And they put a lip block, and I got swollen lips. And he said, if anybody asks you, just tell them you made a wisecrack, and I took care of it. Yeah, like I could talk with all this crap in my mouth. It took about 3 hours. And things came out. My sister and brother in law were there. My wife is unable to travel. I think I've told you all of that before. Uh, and for a young little doctor, he's not little, he's a nice guy. Super, very impressive. I'll just call him Dr. Eric. Um, he is going to be with my GI group. And he wanted me to have a certain surgeon. And of course, the hospitalist, he wanted me to have a certain surgeon for this. And it turns out they both swore that their guy was the best. And I guess they're right because it's the same guy. So there's no more argument about that. But that, I digress. And he said, for as bad as news as you've had this week, you have better news. What we thought was a 3 centimeter mass is less than 1 3/4. It's small. The CT scan showed that it was smaller than what we first thought. We thought it was almost 5 centimeters. When we looked at the CT scan, we thought it was 3. When I got in there and measured it, it's 1 3/4. This is workable. So he explained all this to my sister and brother-in-law and me. Yeah, but I'm kind of goofy because they use anesthesia for this because I yeah, all this stuff down my throat. And I have a sore throat now from it, but that's kind of normal. My lips are still swollen, but they don't mean to, but they pinch when they put in a tube, and they use another mouthpiece. They're putting a bunch of stuff down your throat. You don't need to look at this, okay? So he informed me that he put in 2 stents. I was successful. He was successful in putting one in the liver duct, the common bile duct, and also one within the pancreas itself. He got his samples, he took his ultrasounds, and he got out. And he was happy. And so my children had come to see me the day before. And once again, my youngest, Katie, and Sarah, they had got me a pair of shoes. And I wanted to break them in. I thought I wouldn't be able to walk very far. But I wanted to do like my father did a couple of days after his heart surgery, walk the floors. My shoes were so comfortable, I was able to do this 4 or 5 times. Well, what they wanted to see was if the bilirubin was going down and if the stents were working. The doctor said the stents would continue to open. They move very slowly, but they would continue to open. The first day they said it had already gone down. The second day, down even further, and they released me. I got to come home. And they let me go on solid foods right before I left. Don't usually care for spaghetti and meatballs, but those were the best spaghetti and meatballs I ever had. I guess you say that after having nothing but broth and jello. Ugh. So, my team, they've already put together my appointments. They want me to follow up with my doctor. So, I've called him, I've made arrangements for an exam, and to have another blood draw for my bilirubin. I already have appointments scheduled for the 26th and the 6th, and we'll probably have another one scheduled moved up. I have not met with a surgeon. He's the only one I haven't met with, but it's the same guy, so everybody likes him. Probably a good idea. But I've already got an appointment with my cancer guy, and I have an appointment with my GI guy, and they're within blocks of each other. So I'm very fortunate there. So I made it home yesterday. Part of my support network came and got me and brought me home. And it's good that I got home. My poor little dog, he missed me, Jackson. And I missed him. And I missed my wife, and I missed my children. So that's the way this turned out, and that's why I haven't been on lately. Uh, I do feel better. I felt pretty good yesterday, but I got worn out quick. Came home and silliest things of all, I watched The Sound of Music. Oh, those lonely goat herder, those darling children. And I took a nap all the way until 3:30 this morning. And what they tell you about the hospital, the last night, now they were giving me pain medication, but God, it's not like I remember. You don't get loopy or anything anymore. I mean, it was morphine, and it was just enough. Took the pain away, and I went to sleep until they woke me up to draw blood. They were always doing my fingers to check my sugar because I guess it deals with the pancreas. And they were always happy about that, but they just kept doing it up until I left. Um, my daughter gave me a book called The Memoir of a White House Dog. And I thought it was a kid's book, but it's kind of cute. It tells a story from Falas' point of view when he enters the White House with Roosevelt. Kind of cute. I mean, just I can see where it would be for like a sixth grade or junior high student, but it's easy reading and it's entertaining. So that's it. I came home and I went to sleep, and I got up this morning about 3:30 and went right back to work. Took care of the dishes. I went to Publix. Y'all don't know what Publix is. It's a supermarket. It's where Todd works. Stop crying, Todd. It's life. I didn't sign up for it. That's just part of it. Not saying it's not worth living. So, because of this new development, I'm still going to do the channel. I will still try to keep it in history. But there will be moments when you'll see that I obviously am talking to my family and to my grandsons. I'm trying to leave a record for them. Be patient with me. Thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Charles, Ben, everybody else. And I'll try to make one tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, and I'll try to be back.